I think really just our attitude of just that this can-do spirit, like this we're going to get the job done. Like through the midst of our growth, which a lot of it was during the COVID period, where a lot of e-commerce companies were just growing. It was just this. I was just kept telling my team, like, do what you can do. Every day we came into work, it was like, we were behind orders 2-3 months. But every day we came in and had this stack of orders. It was just do what you can do. Don't try to do too much. Like, because if you thought about what you had to do, like if you looked at the mountain of orders, you would just melt. You would be sick. But if you just did what you could do every day, we would eventually, I told everyone, we would eventually surpass this delay and this mountain of orders that we had to do.
Welcome to Grow Think Tank. This is the one and only place where you will get insight from the founders and the CEOs of the fastest growing privately held companies. I am the host. My name is Gene Hammett. I help leaders and their teams navigate the defining moments of their growth. Are you ready to grow?
Leadership is everything. I truly believe this because I know how companies behave and how people behave under the right kind of leadership. I also know when you have weak leadership, you have leadership that is more fear-driven, how it impacts the bottom line. So today we unpack leadership is everything with the founder and CEO of Herb and Eden. It's a natural products company. They made the Inc. list at number 125. And we talk with Quinton and Terran Lewis today about leadership is everything. One of the things I like about this is they're very humble about their growth. They talk about some of the challenges they've had in this journey. It's very authentic and transparent, but they are really creating a great place that people feel aligned and customers feel served. And you'll understand what that means by listening to this full episode. And we get to really look at how leadership is everything and what that means for their business. When you think about your own leadership, my hope is that you see leadership as a competitive advantage, that you are able to navigate the change, the conflict that comes up, and the constant evolution of your business. Now, if you are challenged in some way, then I'd love to talk to you about what's going on. Most people don't realize that the blind spots that are going on inside their business, whether it be them being the bottleneck or whether it be they're not really investing in the people around them the right way and leading them as powerfully as they could. Either way, let's talk about it. If you go to my website, genehammett.com, you can schedule a call with me. Inside that, we will analyze the leadership and the growth strategies that you have inside your business. I've been doing this for a decade. I guarantee you that I can give you some insights that you've never had before about some of the challenges you're facing. And all you have to do is reach out to genehammett.com, schedule your call, and let's talk about your business. It's up to you. Many people are afraid to ask for help. My hope is you're not one of them. Now, here's the interview with Quinton and Terran. Hey, Quinton and Terran.
Hey.
How are you guys doing?
Doing great.
Doing great.
I'm great. We're going to have a great podcast. We're going to talk about customer communications and really what that means to the growth of the business. But before we dive into that, I'd like for you to tell us about the business, Herb and Eden.
Yeah, so Herb and Eden is an all-natural body care business. Our basic premise is to create body care products that are centered around the power of plants. So all of our products are plant-based. And our number one top product is bar soaps. And then, of course, those are plant-based, made with essential oils. And then we also do body butters, body oils. We do deodorant. So our initial goal is pretty much to take over the bathroom with our plant-based products that we create.
You know, there's a lot of toxins that I think some people are maybe aware of, but not really aware of. What do you wish people knew about all natural products that they just don't seem to pay attention to?
Well, one of the things that even when I first started making soap was that I started to learn that a lot of the brands that we see in the stores, that the ingredients list, essentially, they're putting a lot of like these synthetic chemical fillers into their product to pretty much give it a lot of fluff and make it look like more than what it is. And one of the things that we value about the products that we create is our transparency and also our authenticity to pretty much create great products, but with simple ingredients. You don't need too many ingredients, and you can use natural things, like things that you might find in your kitchen, such as like oatmeal, brown sugar, turmeric powder, different things like that.
Well, I'm a believer in this. I'm glad you guys are moving things forward because I think there's a lot of toxins that we are putting on our body, in our body, and it helps to look at products like you guys. And I'm sure the market's kind of agreeing with this because you guys grew at an astronomical pace. Number 125 on the Inc. list, which was, over 3,500% growth. Was this difficult to achieve that kind of growth over the last 3 years?
Yeah, I would definitely say yes, it was. It definitely was difficult.
Yeah.
It's like a blur.
Well, given that it was difficult, because we probably wouldn't respect you if you said it was easy. What is it in your leadership style or the way you guys engage as a culture has made this possible?
I think, that's a good question. I think really just our attitude of just that this can-do spirit, like this, we're going to get the job done. Like through the midst of our growth, which a lot of it was during the COVID period where, a lot of e-commerce companies were just growing. It was just this, I was just kept telling my team, like, do what you can do. Every day we came into work, it was like, we were behind orders 2-3 months. But every day we came in and had this stack of orders, it was just do what you can do. Don't try to do too much. Like, because if you thought about what you had to do, like if you looked at the mountain of orders, you would just melt. You would be sick. But if you just did what you could do every day, we would eventually, I told everyone, we would eventually surpass this delay and this mountain of orders that we had to do.
Terran, how would you reflect on the culture of the company as you guys have grown so fast?
Culture.
The culture of the company has been, I think that it reflects pretty much me and Quinton and how we are as people. We're pretty much down to earth. And of course, we're two young people, like we're literally 10 days apart. We're 31. And in the midst of all of that, a lot of things being crazy and chaotic, we were like 29. So we always reminded people, that we're young. And of course, we want the culture here to feel young as well, but that we really have real customers on the other side that we have to serve and that we have to give a good product to, so that we have to have this level of setting a great standard of excellence within our company and how we portray ourselves to others. And also one of our logos was the flower of life, which is this large circle that has all these other small circles that are interconnected. So I always told everyone, that's pretty much our part. That's our part in humanity, and our part within this company is every little circle makes this one big circle work and this ecosystem come together.
When our team was doing research on your company, Urban Eden, we were looking at what really makes you guys grow. And one of the things that kept coming up was prioritizing customer communications. What do you mean by prioritizing customer communications?
Honestly, like from the beginning, I think we did this a lot, especially when we had like no money. It was just communicate with them about what's going on. Over communicate. Like if there were good things happening, of course we're communicating. If there was a bad thing going on, we're communicating. During COVID, when we were behind 2-3 months worth of orders, we literally did video. We ran our ads on videos explaining why we're behind on these orders. Like, so it was just, that's all we've relied on. It's just straight communication with your customers. Because I think, especially during a period like COVID, when people are behind on orders, businesses tend to fall. They try to like be quiet and try to fall like to the wayside a little bit and not say anything. We wanted to be the opposite. We wanted to communicate with you. Even though we knew that your order was 2 months behind, we still wanted to communicate.
I've got to imagine that some of those conversations were difficult for people. Maybe they don't like conflict or they don't like to tell people bad news. How did you guys lead people through these difficult conversations?
That's a good one. Well, during that time, a lot of people, so me and Terran were doing a lot of the customer service during our first stages of growth. We knew immediately that we had to get ourselves out of it because this is our baby. And if people start talking bad about your baby, you're getting all in your emotions and all that stuff. So we had to make sure that we had to hire someone to come take over, the customer service, because that just wasn't going to work. So, and
that was one of the greatest things that we did, was to hire somebody that helped with the customer support, because we were already focusing on so many different things, fulfillment, creating content, and we still wanted to maintain our excellent connection that we had with our customers. And we were able to have that when we had a person that could solely focus on the customer's needs and make sure that everything was good with them. We just prioritized making sure that the customer still had a good experience with Urban Eden, even though we were kind of like going through a lot at the time.
Yeah. Just a minute ago, we were talking about difficult conversations, and I thought I'd offer you one place where people get stuck inside of difficult conversations. And it's in the planning stage. What are you really going to do inside this difficult conversation? Now, many times I'm asking my clients, what conversation do you need to have with this employee? And it could be someone else, could be a partner, it could be a customer, but what is the real conversation? And whatever they say to me is never the real conversation. As I probe, as I really get into it, and I want them to uncover this for themselves, that the real conversation is usually deeper. It's very surface level under that first answer, but it's deeper. And when you get to that, that's the conversation you want to have. That's the conversation you want to be aware of, that you can lead someone through. And you want to be prepared for that in advance. Now, you may be wondering about some of the other elements inside of a difficult conversation framework. Now, if you are, I'd love to give it to you. I've got a free guide that you can actually get. And all you have to do is go to genehammett.com/difficult conversations. I know that's a lot, but genehammett.com/difficult conversations. And you'll be able to sign up for that absolutely for free, download it, and get a framework to guide you through the next challenging conversation that you have. Now back to the interview. When you hired someone, did they have a background in customer communications and service?
So the person, and I was actually going to go into that, the person that we actually ended up hiring, they had a marketing background and did like event coordination, but he actually used to work with me. So during the time of COVID, we were getting a lot of like family and friends. This person used to work with me at a restaurant group that was here in Atlanta, and they actually prioritized customer service. So us being servers within this restaurant group, we had to follow particular steps of service. And we also were pretty much groomed by our manager who had hospitality background. So we pretty much relied on the hospitality background. And then he's really good at sending emails and talking in a particular way as well. So that he's been with us actually since that time.
Yeah.
You guys have talked about the values of the company. And I don't know if this is a formal thing that you guys have gone through, but do you have formal company values?
It's a good question. So I would say, just to be frank, like we don't have
them written down.
Yeah, like them written down, concrete, type of values.
Okay.
But I will say there are things that we do value a lot, which I think that kind of starts with the product.
Mm-hmm. We've written down some of our values, sometimes just kind of like played around with different things. But of course, one of our big things is being plant-based. Being authentic and transparent in our processes and our ingredients. And then also customer service is something that we value as well, just making sure that customer has a really great experience. And then being all natural as well.
I think another thing just to add to that is it's on our site about community. Mm-hmm. We value community. We hire, and it's another whole story, but we hire within our community. We have lots of stories of hiring the high school students, because during COVID, I don't remember, a lot of kids weren't going to school, but they needed something to do. So we hired a few of the high school students, and some of them have been here since that time.
Since that time, they've grown.
And they've grown, with the company.
Fantastic. I'm wondering about you guys, your young leaders. What have you guys learned about leadership as the company's grown so fast?
Ooh, man. That leadership is literally everything. Like the company moves like, and like the company, like this all starts with us. Like we set the tone. Like we have to, like we set the tone. You got to hire, and you got to hire great leaders as well. Mm-hmm. Like you do, like, because like you said, as you do more, you need others to step up. So you have to hire leaders and get people that, it just show leadership.
Mm-hmm. They inspire you to do better. And then also I feel like you learn so much more about yourself, and you have to do the personal development to actually grow yourself as a leader. Because like I said, we are young. And so it's always been tough for us, especially if we hire like people that are older than us, just making sure that we kind of assert ourselves as, we know we're as far as authorities in leadership. So it's been a learning curve the whole time.
Yeah.
A lot of people talk about entrepreneurship as the greatest personal development program out there, because we're expected to be resourceful. We're expected to deal with the challenges. We're expected to overcome so many different things that get in our way in order to stick around. Is there anything specifically on your own personal development that you're okay with sharing with our audience today?
Oh, as far as our practices in personal development?
Yeah.
Yeah,
we would love to share. So one thing that we are actually currently doing, we got investors in 2021, and our investors had a company of their own as well. And one of the investors actually has a meeting with us every other Thursday, where we do a leadership call, and we read books. Currently, we're reading Winning by Jack Welch, and pretty much going through some of the steps that he went through as a CEO and different leadership tactics that he learned. So pretty much learning through, and then also the investor, he was the CEO of his company, and he shares experiences with us of different things that he learned along the way. And then we talk about things that we're currently going through, and he guides us in ways that we're able to better approach what we're currently dealing with.
I think one more thing to add to that, one thing that it's kind of like, it might be understated, but one of the things that I really have to do is just take time to reflect on where you were and where we are now. I think that really gives me a lot of clarity a lot of times of just like, if you would have told me 3-4 years ago, hey, your company will be doing this and this is going to be a slow month for you, I would have been like, get out of here. Like, no, like, so just that right there that's another one, just taking the time to reflect on where you were and where you are now.
Now, this whole concept that leadership is everything is the major theme of this episode, but I wanted to unpack a little bit of my perspective on this. A lot of people confuse leadership with execution. We got to get things done. And it's absolutely right. We are judged by the results that we're creating inside of our company. But you want to also make sure that you're developing the people around you. If you get there and the people around you aren't developed, they're not really committed to the journey the way they should be, then I think you failed. Yes, you may have the sales results that you want. You may have reached that next milestone, maybe even raise the money. But if the people aren't really developing around you the way you want to, that leadership, then you have failed as a leader. That's what I believe. Now, how do you make sure that you develop these people? Well, you become the best leader you can be. You become exceptional. And there's lots of frameworks that I can use to help you do this, but I just want you to let it sink in. Are you being an exceptional leader? Because if you're not yet, if you can't honestly answer that, then you've got a lot of work to do. I'm still on a journey of mastery in many areas of my life: Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, being a father, being a husband, and being a coach. I'm never going to stop learning. My hope is you never stop learning about leadership. Leadership is everything. Now back to the interview with Quinton and Terran. Well, we've been talking about prioritizing customer communications. And, I think it's a lot of the transparency you talk about is the product, but you guys seem to be pretty transparent with the customer as well, letting them know that you're behind, that you're probably working on delivering it. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Yeah, no, we've definitely been very transparent with the business aspects. I mean, early on in the business, when all we had was like this phone, you don't have any money to pay for content or anything. All we had was our phone, and we used to go live and things like that. And just talk to the customer. That
was one of the biggest things I think that we were doing, was going live. Times when we would be making soap or having a soap making session, Quinton would just prop the phone up. He didn't always show good times as well. Like if we spilled like 200 pounds of oil, he was showing that as well. So he wasn't just showing the good, but he was showing the good, bad, and ugly.
I love the fact that you guys did that, documenting the journey is a big approach with social media, because people want to see behind the scenes, and showing that you guys are figuring it out and you got great products. I'm really glad that you guys are having the success that you have now. I want to wrap us up with just one or two questions on this whole concept of leadership. You mentioned leadership is everything. How does leadership affect the bottom line of your business?
How does leadership affect the bottom line? I think it does. I think leadership does affect the bottom line, because just coming from my experience, I don't have all the experience in the world, but I mean, your decision making affects everything. Whether we're going to take on this, we're going to do this, or kind of steering the direction of the company. Like if I'm not grounded and if I'm just trying to take on any shiny object of anything, then that's going to affect the bottom line, because we all know adding new products and going into new projects, that stuff costs a lot of money, so yes, it definitely does affect the bottom line. I think the leadership is like the lever almost to that.
Terran, what do you add with that?
I truly think that it affects the bottom line. And I think I would agree with what Quinton said, as far as like the decision making is everything. Not only that, just kind of having that diligence and of being able to bring on people into your team if need be, and just you being able to be a good leader. And you have to start with yourself first and be that example. So I think that, as the leader, you most of the time set the vision of your company and of the brand. So it definitely affects the bottom line to develop yourself as a good leader and to really take that serious.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're here talking with Quinton and Terran, the founder CEO of Herb and Eden, an incredible natural products. You want to make sure that you check out what they're up to. And I really appreciate you being on the show here.
Thank you for having us.
Wow, what a great interview. I love having young founders on the podcast to talk about how they see the world, how things have evolved. We talked about personal development. And I really do believe that entrepreneurship is the greatest personal development program ever, because you are expected to navigate so many things and push through the challenges so that you can get to the other side. Otherwise, you're not an entrepreneur for very long. You go back and work for someone else's dream. But if you're listening to these podcasts and you realize how important it is to grow as a leader, and reach out to me, I'd love to help you grow your leadership to the next level. Keep listening to the podcast. When you think of growth and you think of leadership, think of Growth Think Tank. As always, the courage. We'll see you next time.